You see the logos literally everywhere, right? On billboards, all over social media, and yeah, probably in your own closet. But behind every single one of those iconic brands is this massive global business machine. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the biggest players in fashion to see how it all really works.
Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger. I mean, come on, these aren't just brand names, they're part of our culture. They've defined whole eras of style, from that minimalist 90s cool to preppy Americana. They live in our heads just as much as they live in department stores.
So what's their big strategy? What are they most afraid of? And how are they actually doing, like right now? Well, here's the cool part. You don't have to guess. Public companies, they have to lay all this stuff out in the open, and we're going to show you exactly where to find all the juicy details.
Okay, first up, the brands you know. Let's just take a second to appreciate the sheer scale of these two names, because honestly, it's probably way bigger than you think.
That $18 billion. That's the combined global retail sales of products sold under the Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein brand names in just 1 year. This isn't just about selling t-shirts and jeans. This is about running a massive global economic engine.
And the company that's actually steering that engine? Well, that would be their parent company, PVH Corp.
PVH is an absolute beast. We're talking 26,000 employees, operations in over 40 countries, and $9 billion in revenue last year. But here is the number that really matters. Over 95% of all that money comes from just two names, Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger. So basically, as those two brands go, so goes the entire company.
So how in the world do we know all this stuff? It's not like it's some big secret. We're actually just looking at the company's own official paperwork, specifically its annual report that it has to file with the U.S. government.
It's called a Form 10-K, and the best way to think about it is like a company's mandatory annual checkup. Every single publicly traded company has to file one, and they have to lay out everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, for investors and for you and me to see. It's an absolute treasure trove of real, verified information.
And right there, smack in the middle of that 10K, PVH spells out its exact game plan. They call it the PVH Plus Plan.
Okay, so the PVH Plus plan has 5 main pillars. And what all this corporate speak really boils down to is 1. Make awesome hero products people love. 2. Create incredible marketing buzz. 3. Crush it with online sales. 4. Use data to be way smarter about what you sell and where. And 5. Cut costs so you can reinvest that money in growing the business. This isn't just marketing fluff, this is the official playbook guiding billions of dollars.
But the 10K isn't just about the happy-go-lucky strategy. It also forces companies to list out everything that could possibly go wrong. And this, my friends, is where things get really, really interesting. First on the list, a huge one for any company that makes stuff around the world: tariffs. The idea that a new tax or trade war could pop up overnight and completely wreck your pricing and profits? Yeah, that's a constant looming threat.
Next up, what's happening in the world? PVH is super upfront about how conflicts, like the war in Ukraine or instability in the Middle East, directly hit their bottom line. It can force them to close down stores, pull out of entire countries, and deal with all sorts of rising costs.
And hey, remember those supply chain nightmares from a couple years ago? Well, those risks have not gone away. PVH still has to worry about things like a new epidemic closing factories, causing massive shipping delays, and creating traffic jams at ports all over the globe.
Now here's a very modern, very specific risk. PVH was actually placed on China's list of unreliable entities. Now that could lead to huge fines or even major restrictions on their ability to sell products in one of the world's most important markets. That is a massive headache to deal with.
Okay, so we've got the plan and we've got the long list of scary risks. But how did PVH actually do? How did they perform in the real world? For that, we can turn to their latest earnings report.
So, the results for the end of 2025 were pretty darn good. They told investors that revenue would go up just a little bit. Instead, it jumped 6%. They aimed for a 9% operating margin. They hit 10%. And they totally smashed their earnings per share forecast. Now, these are non-GAAP numbers, which is just the company's way of adjusting the figures to give what they think is a clearer picture of performance. The bottom line? In a tough environment, they really over-delivered.
And this was the big number for the whole year, $11.40 in non-GAAP earnings per share, which is their adjusted way of measuring profit. And again, it blew past what they had even predicted for themselves. It tells you that this is a company that's managing to execute pretty well, even with all those risks we just talked about. And the CEO, Stefan Larsson, he points to two things for this success. First, the raw power of the two big brands. And second, you guessed it, sticking to that PVH Plus plan we found in the 10K. See? It's all connected.
So, what's next? What does the future hold? Well, the company also gives us a forecast for 2026, and it shows that the challenges are definitely far from over.
Remember that risk we mentioned about tariffs? Well, it is not just some hypothetical problem. PVH is projecting that U.S. tariffs are going to slam their 2026 profit margin by 2.15% and could slash a potential $3.30 from their earnings per share. That is a major, major headwind they have to fly into.
So how are they going to fight back? Well, they still expect revenue to grow a little bit, mainly by focusing on selling directly to you, the consumer. They're also planning to buy back at least $300 million of their own stock, which is a way to return value to shareholders. And their core message is basically, don't panic, we're sticking to the PVH Plus plan.
So, the next time you walk past a Calvin Klein ad or you pick up a Tommy Hilfiger polo shirt, you'll know the story behind it isn't just about fashion, is it? It's a story of a multi-billion-dollar strategy, a world of global risks, and a constant, brutal battle for growth, all laid out in the open if you just know where to look.